welcome. One, two, three. Yes! Hello! Welcome back to the Charlotte Otremba Show. I'm Charlotte Otremba. I am so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're back with me. We're gonna share another great day together. I mean, not a full day, just a half hour, but you know, it'll be the best half hour of your life, certainly of today, maybe. I have had a good week. It's starting to feel like fall in New York, which is really exciting. I think I've been waiting for it to feel like fall since the pandemic started. You know, just that perfect weather to be outside in. When the pandemic and quarantine and everything started in New York City, it was, you know, in March, which is pretty much the worst weather, you know? In New York, you get that perfect sort of gray, rainy, too cold to go outside, you know, it's like, it'd be maybe mild enough to be able to go outside if it was sunny, but it's raining, and so it's necessarily colder because of that. So it's just terrible. And then you're just stuck in your small apartment because it's New York City. You chose to live in the city because of all the activities and to be out of your apartment, not inside your shoebox apartment. So now it's that perfect weather where, you know, you could maybe wear a light jacket, dare I say a blazer. Oh, love me a blazer. I think this is why I love fall the most, is because I can just whip out an oversized blazer and I automatically feel 20 times cooler. You know, you can't whip out a blazer in the middle of summer, you get too hot. And you can't whip out a blazer in the middle of, oh, just realized I'm not recording. Hello you. Welcome to the Charlotte Otremba Show. My name is Charlotte. Oh, it's still not recording correctly. Right. Okay. Welcome to the Charlotte Otremba Show. My name is Charlotte. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited for today's episode. I mean, I'm so excited you're here with me, you know? I mean, we're gonna have another great day, or great half hour, you know, whatever. Certainly will be the highlight of my day. If not week, if not month, who knows? I'm pretty excited. All I know is that I've gotten off to a great start because I've had to re-record this 3 times because I actually was not recording. So that's really fun. And I just think that goes to show just sort of the fun, impulsive, do whatever mood this podcast is going to be today. Really excited about it. I was just saying to myself a couple minutes ago before I realized it wasn't recording that it's fall in New York City, which is beautiful. It's the weather we should have had all quarantine and all pandemic, but alas, we were stuck with March, April, May, June, which all felt like March, which feels like February, which feels like shit. You know what I'm talking about, though. I mean, everybody moves to New York City because of all of the action and culture and restaurants and people and just all of the excitement that New York City has to offer. And in the darkest days of the worst months, which is most of the months of the year, you are comforted by the fact that you can go out of your apartment and go meet friends at any of the amazing restaurants and bars in the city, any of the plays, any of the theater, any of the shows, any of the, you know, museums. I mean, cultural possibilities are endless. To have to be stuck inside of your shoebox apartment is pretty miserable, and it's not nice enough weather where you could at least go for a walk, because no, it's cold, rainy, cloudy, throw some humidity in there too. It's the worst of the worst, you know? These apartments in New York were not meant to be, lived in full time. They were meant to be a holding place in between leaving for the day and night, to really only be in for sleep. Yeah. So now it's fall, which is what we've all been waiting for, and it's beautiful out. And I love fall because it's blazer time, you know? I love wearing blazers. I dare say it is the single best fashion accessory, statement, piece, whatever, that a woman can put on and instantly feel cool and feel like a badass and feel like you got this day, you know? You could just be wearing a freaking bra underneath, which this is also a look that happens. I scroll Instagram and Pinterest. I see that happening. And you can throw your blazer on, you're fine. You go outside and you are a badass. I mean, props to the blazers, you know? I feel like guys don't... Actually, I feel like guys can throw on a blazer and it's still really cool. I think you could be a guy, be anyone, really, and wear underwear. Yeah, I'm putting this out there. I think you could be any person, be wearing undergarments, put on a blazer, and be able to go outside and look cool. Like, you'd be fine. I think shoes are necessary, otherwise you might look crazy, like, you know, too long of a night, too many drugs in the system, you just went out wandering. I think, yeah, I stand by that. I think you could look cool no matter what, as long as you have a blazer on. So there's that. My blazer game is strong. I have a collection of blazers that I've purchased and that I've taken from my mom. So that's cool. And what's cool about her blazers is they're from the 90s, which is when everything, which is basically what style is now. Again, it's just all circles back. So they're all these like cool oversized blazers and I love them so much. And I love it. So yeah, blazer game has been strong. If you have a favorite blazer or blazer look, I mean, send it to me. I honestly, I just love blazers. I'm like hot for blazers. Freaking love it. I mean, just name an occasion where you can't wear a blazer and there are none. Casual day, blazer over, if it's morning and you're going to get your coffee and you're wearing sweats, throw a blazer on. If it's lunch with your friends, throw a blazer on. Dinner, a nice date night, throw a blazer on. Going to the theater, throw a blazer on. Holidays, throw a blazer on. Throw a freaking blazer on. Just throw it on. Blazer, baby. Blazer it. Always a blazer. Always a blazer. Wow, I'm so fired up. Woo. Anyway, pumped it's October. It's October when I'm taping this. I talked about how I feel sad about Halloween costumes, but it's fine. I have my Halloween decorations out. They've been up since early September. Don't worry about it. But truthfully, if it weren't for the Halloween decorations, I would still think that it's the beginning of the pandemic. I swear, somebody will be talking and they'll say, oh, last month, and I'll think they mean March. Oopsies. And I'll think they mean March. Truthfully, even somebody the other day was telling me, oh yeah, my lease is up in May. And I was fully like, oh yeah, that's great. That's only like another month away. They're like, no. It is months and months away. Well, it's 6 months away. Yeah, I was like I fully thought it was like March or April. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when that's gonna change, or if this year is just gonna be that weird lost year for everybody. A year of horror. A year of nightmares. Literally. Because if you weren't suffering from the coronavirus, then you were fighting the coronavirus, or you were terrified of the coronavirus. and then you were suffering repercussions of the coronavirus. Great times. At least we're unified, you know? Except for the crazies. Anyway, Kanye West is going to be on Joe Rogan's podcast. So there's that. I these two. I mean, if anybody can kind of like get on Kanye's level, but then get sort of like the best quotes out of him, it's gonna be Joe Rogan. I guess it's gonna be like shoveling coal into a fire. I mean, it's just gonna be like slow burn, medium burn, high burn, like throwing paper into it. Oh my God, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. What kind of conspiracy theories are gonna be thrown about willy-nilly and taken with such seriousness as a, congressional hearing? It'll be these two talking about some fucking UFO conspiracy, and they will treat it like it is the word of God. I can't. And also, I just can't with Kanye West's Sunday services, where it's just a bunch of celebrities standing in a circle around a choir that sounds classically trained, like is literally a beautiful choir. A bunch of celebrities circled around a choir as they sing generic hymns and or just seem to sing sort of like one line on repetition. Like one line on repeat, and then they call it a Sunday service. No, this is a concert, and it's BS. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think music has a place, absolutely, but I'm not gonna freaking listen to Kanye West as if he is a pastor or a priest or any sort of religious leader. I'm not doing it. I mean, his most recent song that was on the charts was that, I don't know, but it was like about, like not porn, but you know what I'm talking about with like the big suits. I mean, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I'm sorry, no. Anyway, before taping, Googled Kanye West running for president to see if it was still in fact happening. And the top 3 headlines, you know how Google has top stories? The top one was by the Times of India. US elections 2020, is Kanye West still running for president? The Mercury News, rapper Kanye West is on your ballot. How did that happen? And Insider, Kourtney Kardashian wears Vote Kanye hat, advertises for Kanye 2020. I mean, if that isn't a powerhouse of top US news sites, I don't know what is. First of all, the top US news hit is from India. Even India is like, what the fuck, guys? And is writing about it. And then the Mercury News, no idea what that is. No idea. Have never heard of the Mercury News. But I do love their headline. Kanye West is on your ballot. How did that happen? And then Kourtney wearing a Vote Kanye hat. I mean, like, Kourtney doesn't give a shit about anything, let's be real. Except for, like, sugar in her kids' food. Which is good. I mean, props to her. And I did dig a little more to see, because remember there was this talk where he's like on a tweet storm and he's talking about running for president, and then he had a running mate, I'm pretty sure, because then I read a blurb about it in the New Yorker, and I was like, come on, New Yorker, have we lost our marbles? We're taking this seriously? And then And then I think he was running with somebody from Wyoming, which they are good people out there, I think. I mean, look, he's probably a good person, but he's just cuckoo. And then I read, then I searched for hours. I didn't. I just read Wikipedia. And Wikipedia said, West has qualified for ballot access in 12 states. The campaign sued for ballot access in 5 additional states and subsequently lost all appeals, gave up on 4 other states, and missed the deadlines of a further 29 states, plus the District of Columbia. This is like somebody who got excited about a project and then got distracted, or it like was too much work and so gave up. Which is me. It would be like me running for president. It sounds like me trying to start a podcast. You know, it's taken 3 months and a year of me talking about, and we're finally getting there. But if somebody was like, oh, you have to appeal, I'd probably be like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's too hard. So anyway, that's the Kanye West thing. Crazy that he's going to be on ballots, and honestly kind of irresponsible, because then it's just going to take votes away, and this is not the election to do that, you know? But I'm not going to get on my soap. Speaking of unhinged celebrities, also watched the Paris Hilton documentary. Fun. Just kidding, she's not unhinged, but she did get tortured, which is pretty intense and very interesting and scary. Actually, her documentary was, it was so good. Truthfully, such a good documentary, because we totally saw a different side of Paris Hilton than we all know. And what's nuts is that this school, this Provo school that she went to, where, you know, they did solitary confinement and would, sounds like, beat kids up and give them medications without parents knowing, and, you know, just really bad stuff. I did not know that, and also it just seems like there are a lot of other places that did that, because she was in and out of a bunch of different schools. So it's really scary, and I really hope the movement that she's starting makes a difference. It's really amazing. So she's sort of helping mobilize so many different people who went through this, and anyway, nuts. Freaking nuts, you know? I think what's cool about her is that her whole brand was basically based on this persona that she had, that she made, that she created. And, you know, she's pretty freaking smart. Kind of like, but not really the same, but actually similar in a lot of ways, Dolly Parton. I mean, I love Dolly Parton. Dolly gives off this sort of level of warmth and everything, and sort of, yeah, I love Dolly Parton. Actually, a lot of similarities between the two, now that I'm thinking about it, because I am. And I watched the Dolly Parton documentary last night and freaking loved it. So good. And I used to listen to Dolly. So in college, I worked in the costume shop in the theater. So we made, there was like a real costume designer, and she, amazing that she was working at Vanderbilt, because she like designed the costumes for Taylor Swift's tour, and, you know, worked on all these theaters and across the country and everything, and movies. And anyway, so she designed and made all of the costumes for all of the theater productions. And so I worked there part-time, and sort of helping sew and design or whatever. And at 4:00 every day, it'd be Dolly time. Played one of Dolly's albums. So I always have fond memories of Dolly because of that. But then I had not known sort of how she'd grown up, and how she was like this secret feminist. She was sort of feminist in the best way, in that she did it subversively. Subversively? Is that a word? She was subversive about it. You know what I mean? She, you know, this was a time, she was doing this in sort of the 50s and 60s, where, you know, she used what she had, and she sort of beat everybody to the punch with she made the joke first. You know what I'm saying? She'd make a joke about her boobs before anybody else could. She'd make a joke about her hair before anybody else could. And she sort of, I mean, she even had a quote too where like show business is a joke basically, or not a joke, like a game. And she's like, if the audience doesn't get that it's a joke, then the joke's on them. You know, that it's a game we're playing. So it was like really cool. I love her. She's so cool. And I can't wait for her Holly Dolly Christmas album coming out soon. Yeah, highly recommend the documentary. It was on Netflix. That's where I watched it, but I'm sure it's other places, so check it out. Also Prime Day was October 13th. Pretty nuts that they pushed it. I'd be curious to know what their sales were, but it has to be bigger than years past. I think it's smart that they moved it from July to October. I mean, obviously nobody was going to be shopping big in July for Prime Day, but I think this is a smarter move because then it makes all of the Christmas shopping start earlier, holiday shopping, all the holidays around that time. I did not buy anything on Prime Day this year, but I shop on Amazon weekly, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, these are from Amazon. This is from Amazon. Everything's from Amazon. Camera this is being recorded on is from Amazon. The lights from Amazon. Sponsor me, Amazon. I freaking love Amazon. So, and obviously there are issues, like, don't get me wrong. I think I'm definitely using it because of its convenience, you know, but, you know, like anything, there's room for improvement. I went down to Florida 2 weeks ago, and saw my brother and his fiance, and it was so fun. You know when you just need a weekend away? It was great. We were obviously very careful, wore masks on the plane, did not go out anywhere. We just stayed in with each other and hung out, and went to the beach, and it was so nice. And we are obviously a classy bunch because we stayed up like late night drinks and whatever, just in the house, laughing so hard about farts. How old are we? Just proof that you're never, ever too old to laugh at a fart joke. And and at one point I was laughing, actually multiple points I was laughing so hard where my stomach hurt. Has that ever happened to you where literally you cannot breathe and you're like, if I laugh even a minute longer, I will probably just pass out. And so I was laughing so hard, and then I had to be like hunch over and pause and try to like breathe in through my nose, like like I'm choking. Like, you know when you're in a restaurant or something or at friends, I mean, literally it's always in a public place. It is surely never when you are by yourself where you swallow down the wrong pipe and you start coughing and you're trying to make it subtle and you're like, but it is a hack. And suddenly everybody at the table, from tables all around you, from the front of the restaurant, like a chef comes out from the back kitchen's like, are you okay? Nobody cared before, but they're like, are you okay? You're like, no, it's fine, it's totally fine. And then you sort of panic and remember, oh yeah, like I remember when I was a kid that I could just breathe in through my nose, which is what my mom used to do. Like if my brother and I started to choke or swallow wrong, she'd be like, hands up, breathe through your nose. And you'd be like, and sort of panic. It's like, don't know if that was just me or if that's everybody, but that's what we did. Anyway, so I always do that, and always recommend that. And also I think look, probably there are not that many people staring at you, but it always feels like that, which is, I guess, the spotlight effect, which is where you think that everybody's looking at you. Ask my boyfriend, the spotlight effect is not an effect. I am always in the spotlight. It never fades. What was I saying? Oh, so So anyway, I was laughing so hard that I had to keep breathing in through my nose because we're talking about farts that wake you up at night. You know what I'm talking about too. If you have a partner, or maybe it's just yourself, you have been awoken in the middle of the night by a fart. A toot. It has happened to you. And it could be the sound, or it could be the smell. But it has happened. And don't act like it hasn't happened to you. It happens. Wow, anyway, wanted to read some TMZ headlines. I don't know, I have to say, I do love reading TMZ from time to time. I'm not gonna say I don't. And I also feel like, I was talking about this with my friend where we're like, oh yeah, there is solid journalistic integrity, because they do check their sources. I will give them that. I think someone said that. Or they'll call like somebody else to kind of try or whatever. I feel like they go a little further. It's not like the National Enquirer where they literally just pull shit out of their ass and paste it online and, run it. And they're like, yeah, that'll do. I wanted to read some headlines. We talked about Kanye West. We can never not talk about Kanye West more. So here's one. Kanye West, I'm going on Joe Rogan's podcast, ... and I can design the set. ! Exclamation point. Notice how this is like always the style of the headlines. This one. Neil deGrasse Tyson. COVID, Trump, economy, racism, and this to 2020. Asteroid could hit US day before election. ! Also, I need to read that because that's fucking scary if that's true. I mean, come on. And this one. Coach Nick Saban. I'm COVID negative and we won, so let's dance! ! They always have 3 exclamation points. Did you know this? Always 3. Because if 1 didn't convince you, 2 certainly won't. But 3, well, now I know this story's true. Because with 3 exclamation points, we know that those people said those lines. And I can design the set. Asteroid could hit US day before election. I'm COVID negative and we won, so let's dance. That's what I feel like they're saying if there are 3 exclamation points. It's like, all in monotone and at this loud level. Asteroid could hit US day before election. I'm COVID negative, so let's dance. It's like, what? I actually do want to know this. Could the asteroid hit the US the day before the election? I mean, this is worrisome if it's true. I'm searching. Oh, TMZ came up. Oh, TMZ. Oh, New York Post. Oh, CNN. Space.com. Space.com says no, an asteroid will not hit Earth the day before Election Day. Gah. I trust Space.com. Space.com. All right, some Real Housewives. Obviously, we need to cover some Real Housewives. And before we get any further with Real Housewives, no, I will not talk about Kelly Dodd because she is trash. Garcelle's returning, thank God. I mean, seriously. Thank God. Real Housewives of New York, Leah's returning, and so is a new gal. Pumped about that. They need some fresh blood. I mean, I don't think it's going to be long before Ramona, Sonia, and Luann leave, truthfully. They gotta start. They gotta get a little younger, you know. Don't get me wrong, they look great. But at a certain point, seeing people of a certain age drinking and losing their shit, it goes from, like, entertaining to sad, you know? It sort of crosses over. It doesn't matter who, where, gender, literally across the board. Would venture to say. It just comes off as Sad. So anyway, I mean, who knows? Some other fun stuff. Louis Vuitton has a new collab with the NBA, and if you've looked at them, it looks like somebody just took a basketball and enlarged it on Photoshop and then printed it on a t-shirt. There are t-shirts where it's just stripes on a diagonal. And then there's this weird bag that looks like a pet carrier, but it has like basketball net. You know, like a basketball net, but as the mesh part. And the model is holding it, but instead of a pet in the pet carrier, there is a basketball. So tender. Because that's how I want to carry my basketball around, is in a Louis Vuitton case. Like, I'm going to bring that down to the gym. And then also anybody that can afford a Louis Vuitton carrying case for their basketball is not going to be the one carrying the basketball. You would have staff for that. And also there would be a basketball at the gym you practice at. Why are you bringing a basketball around? What? The people who are carrying around a basketball are going to play, and then they would not want to put like their Louis Vuitton bag down on a bench or on the ground of the gym. What? Such a joke. Almost as much of a joke as those cut-off turtlenecks at Zara that I keep seeing all over TikTok and Instagram, where it's literally a turtleneck on your neck and then it's long sleeve and literally cuts off at the collarbone. Who the fuck is wearing that? Who's wearing it? What does it do for you? Because if I'm cold, I'm gonna want to put a real sweater on. And if I'm hot or perfect temperature, putting on something that just covers up my neck and arms will just be uncomfortable. No. And if I really wanted to wear it, I could just cut up one of my turtlenecks, because that's basically what happened here. Feels like some intern was like, I know what's cool. I'm Gen Z. And Zara was like, oh yeah, we'll listen to you. Tell us everything. What do the kids want? And then he just like cut off his turtleneck. Because that's how meetings in Zara go. True story, like when I went to Zara when I was younger, and I've always had big feet. I have a size 10 women's. I got shamed like several times there. I'd ask for a shoe in my size and they'd say, oh, we don't carry that big. Bitch. I mean, I have big feet, you know what that means. Big vajayjay. I'm not going to comment further on that. All right, let's go to questions. Okay, Molly R asks, one of my best friends lives in a different state. What are some tips to maintaining a long distance friendship? Great question. I too have friends that live in different states, and I think the key is to just check in, give a call. Don't put too much pressure on it, but give them a call every couple of weeks, make a time to FaceTime, just text once in a while, or make sure to still send them, things you see maybe on Instagram or articles that remind you of them. I think the key is to not put too much pressure on it, because if you put too much pressure on it, then you will maybe put off doing something. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're like, oh my God, we need to have like a full catch up since we haven't seen each other, then you're going to be like, oh, I need to set aside more time, and oh, I don't have time, and oh, I can't do it, and like there's so much, and blah, blah, blah. I think just know that when you talk to each other, you'll catch up. And anything that's super important, you can call them in an emergency, I don't think that's going away. And then what's fun is that when you plan visits and trips to see each other, then it is so fun because you've like dedicated that weekend to it. So you have so much more fun sometimes than if you lived in the same city. Because then if you're in the same city, you sort of maybe take it for granted. And then when you do a weekend away, it's like so fun. So yeah, it'll be great. And then you can plan trips together maybe. I think long distance friendship is wonderful, and it's a beautiful type of relationship, and you'll be fine. Thanks for asking, Molly. Okay. Nina T asks, I'm meeting my partner's family for the first time. Any tips to make a great first impression? Great question. I would say don't overthink it. Easier said than done, believe me, I know. But I think your person that you're with likes you, loves you for you. And that's why you're together. And that's who you should be when you're meeting their family. So I think, some basic tips. Don't drink too much or do any sort of substance beforehand, because then you won't be able to kind of control conversation, and that could maybe not give a good first impression. So, of course, like a glass of wine or a couple drinks are fine, or if you don't drink, obviously don't go off the wagon for this. You know what I'm saying? Just be normal, be natural, and treat them as if they're a new friend. Because that's what they are. Like, you're going to a party and you're meeting some new friends, and you would necessarily be polite, introduce yourself, want to know about them, ask them questions, be interested, and also help out. I think that's true. That's good manners anyway. You should always do that, but always make sure to be helpful, especially if you're at their house. That always makes a good first impression too, So, and yeah, I also would say, don't, dress nicely. I think don't go over in sweats, I don't know, basic stuff like that. Maybe I'm more old school, but I think dressing nicely or just seeming like you put thought into what you're wearing, that goes a long way because it shows respect. It shows that you are excited and this is important and you want to make a good first impression. So that's that. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the Charlotte Otremba Show. I'm so happy you're here, and I hope you enjoyed this week. Don't forget to check out my YouTube, and you can always watch the live version of this, which is fun, and give a review if you're enjoying it. I'll see you next week. Woohoo!